Let's turn our attention to the elephant in the room. The gorilla elephant in Donkey Kong Bananza, that is.
That just about works. My short review of Donkey Kong Bananza is very good. That's the short one. I wasn't sure an hour or so in, though. I was a bit concerned for that first little chunk. I'd been interested in this one since the initial trailer, since it was hinted that it was the Odyssey team's follow-up to Mario's last big full-size adventure. That kind of, whet my appetite, as it were. But I don't think DK Bonanza puts its best foot forward straight away. And although I do appreciate the necessity of its early game kind of properly setting up the player to understand the basics of the game, how you smash up or forwards or down, there is a purpose for how the smashing works. But it's not until you're kind of set loose in the first world proper after that beginning that suddenly you go, oh shit, no, this is actually really, really good. This is really, really good. And it then starts feeling properly like the pseudo sequel to Mario Odyssey that it was kind of billed as, and obviously built as internally as well. This is a bona fide Nintendo first party platformer. And what's exciting about it, but weird about it at the same time, is it's messier than any Nintendo first party game I can recall. Something like Splatoon, when it first came out on the Wii U, that is the first game, it felt weird. It felt very different to play, whether you're playing single player mode or multiplayer, but it still felt very controlled. And within 10 seconds of picking up the controller, it was like, here's a wall I can paint. Here's a surface I can't. And you understood what the game was telling you to do. But from very early on, Bonanza basically relinquishes almost all directorship and just says, just smash what you like. And this is kind of a Minecraft-style freedom that's very odd to see in a Nintendo game that's generally about, here is a very, very tightly refined and play-tested stage for you to get through. This is very much a title about destruction rather than building, though. So it's not Minecraft in terms of like creating structures. But it does feel like the team were directly inspired by things like, Minecraft having these more malleable kind of playset worlds, because the moment-to-moment gameplay of DK is almost entirely based around the idea that, you can jump across something or climb over something, or you can just smash straight through it. And it's almost always your choice, which is great. But as a result, though, sometimes you might feel like a genius for sculpting the land to your will to find a collectible. But other times it might feel a bit underwhelming when you kind of just take route one straight to victory instead of engaging with the challenges you're supposed to be taking part in. And finding the balance of that, I think, takes a few stages to really pick up and work as the game kind of introduces more kind of dirt types or more material types. Yes, there's things you can smash through. Yes, there's things you can't smash through. Yes, there's things you can smash through with additional powers, caveats, that kind of thing. And it then becomes a bit more kind of puzzle platformer as opposed to just utter destruction. The moment-to-moment dopamine rewards in this game, though, are relentless. Every single punch, there is gold flying everywhere. There's collectibles for days. Bananas in this game represent like Mario Odyssey's moons or Mario 64 stars. You've also got fossils that are prevalent everywhere on the map, and I guess are closer to something like Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds, because they serve more as kind of being a tradable resource that unlocks cosmetic options, but they don't drive the game forwards like the bananas do. They're not like the story collectible. But there is a huge amount to do. But interestingly for me, DK Bonanza hasn't hooked me in quite the same way Odyssey did, because when I got Mario Odyssey, I played it until I couldn't. I played it for basically 70 hours, and in that 70 hours I didn't play anything else. That it took me to beat it across a couple of weeks, and I got to 100%. And I think the reason for DK not doing it in quite the same way is because of how maximalist it is. Jumping between something like this, and I've been playing a lot of Blueprints again. Blueprints is so slow and plodding, and it's about exploration and note-taking and thinking, and it really highlights how every second of Donkey Kong feels like you're at the last night of the proms. There's fireworks going off constantly. And I swear, if I was wearing a heart rate monitor, it would be going up and actively peaking when I was playing Donkey Kong. And because of that, I don't always feel the urge to play like massive sessions of it, because there's no let up in the way it's all presented. Like, I think with all good art, you need to have moments of quiet for balance. And if there was a bit more of that in Donkey Kong, I think it would work a bit better. Like, yes, you can self-regulate, you can just go and do something else or take a break, but who wants to do that? That's not the point of my time off. But it is a really excellent game, though. And a couple of hours in, I was convinced it would be in Game of the Year contention for me. As the dust has settled, I'm not so sure. I still think it's a solid 9 out of 10 of basically anyone's metric in the world. And it's absolutely a must-have for the Switch 2 as well. But I'm not convinced it will be a game that I'm still thinking about like a generation later, like Odyssey is. Knowing that that game as well has had its Switch 2 glow-up has made it extremely tempting to just say, I'll pause Donkey Kong. Just have a go at Odyssey for a bit instead. But I've got too much else to finish and do at the minute. So I'm trying to just keep Donkey Kong in the machine, focus on that. And, Odyssey can be a nice what-if next play alongside Link's Awakening for later in the year. Now, I know I'm way behind you on this one. So don't spoil any big endgame stuff, as I'm pretty sure you've rinsed it for all it's worth. But did you enjoy Donkey Kong?
I did.
Yes. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Good.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's it. I was the same as you in Mario Odyssey. I didn't sleep. I 100%ed it. Honestly, I 100%ed it in 4 days.
Yeah,
I did I did 40 plus hours in 4 days, and it was ridiculous. I did something much similar with Donkey Kong, to be fair, but like you said, like the impetus behind playing it was very different.
Yes,
because Donkey Kong Bonanza felt like I needed to get through it because I needed things to be quiet again. I needed the noise to stop.
It's like playing a game of tinnitus, but one that's beatable.
Yes, yeah. It took me a little while to warm up to it because I really wanted it to scratch that proper 3D Mario itch, which it doesn't, because it's not really a 3D platform game. It's a 3D action adventure with a bit of platforming, which is absolutely fine, obviously. And there are some late game challenges that have some good platforming challenge to them. But it's great that it's not scratching the 3D Mario itch, because it's not a 3D Mario game. It's a 3D Donkey Kong game.
Yes.
And whilst there are familiar elements to the Odyssey setup specifically, this feels very different to play. And that's definitely a good thing. It feels like a Donkey Kong game. It means that, Bonanza isn't coming in place of a 3D Mario game in the same way that when the GameCube launched, it launched with Luigi's Mansion.
Yes,
and that wasn't coming instead of, Super Mario 128, as it was being called, and it didn't replace what would become Super Mario Sunshine. It was doing something familiar but very different that suited a different character, and that's what Donkey Kong Bonanza is. Graphically, it's an incredibly impressive game. Like, the amount of stuff going on at any one time is just incredible. It reminded me a bit of some of those levels in Astro Bot that for no reason would just have like a field of bells or leaves or petals just to run through, just so it could show you that it could do it without any slowdown.
It's just show off, isn't it?
In Donkey Kong, all that stuff actually has a purpose. And as with lots of recent colourful Nintendo games, Nora really enjoyed watching me play it. She loves Pauline. She loved playing as her in Mario Kart, so she was familiar with her already. And she loved being able to change her outfits and change the colour of Donkey Kong's fur. And she loved going, ooh, banana.
You can't not.
Every time.
You can't
No, you
not.
You can't.
And it's like Georgia would be sat next to me, and every time I got one, it would say it, and then I'd repeat it. And she'd glance over, and I'd be like, you got it, don't you?
Yeah, you have to.
Ooh, banana.
There's 1,000. There's 1,000.
So I've got about 800 more times I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah, that's it. Nora also loved the Bonanza transformations because they're amazing. Yeah. And I had no idea they were in the game because I avoided all media of the game, and I was very pleased to go in and be surprised. There's some slightly nightmarish Bonanzas that you unlock of like Donkey Kong transforming into, I won't say in case you haven't unlocked all of them.
No, I haven't.
Animals.
Yeah, okay.
And you go, that does not work. That should not work. And I'm sure someone somewhere has probably done like a realistic version of what those creatures would look like in real life, and I do not want to see that. But yeah, it's a brilliant game. It's incredibly satisfying to play and smash through things and do that. And like I said, the best thing I can say about it, and a real high praise for the Mario Odyssey team, is that it doesn't feel like Mario,
Yes.
and it's its own thing. But I think, like you, I finished it, and I don't think I'm going to want to play it again.
One and done. It's good enough.
One and done. But I loved it. 9 out of 10.
There we go.